Welcome to Hope for Everybody, a channel that exists to highlight people and places that are all about providing hope to people in need. Check out today's episode.
As the administrator, when it gets to be about the middle of the month, money is gone. So we allowed that person to come with the understanding that, we would take the steps that we needed to take to get them on track. Well, when it came to the first of the next month, that person took off and called about a week later and said that they had given the rent money to another organization. I didn't believe it when I heard that story. But at this point, that person has become my responsibility. And that happens quite often where the population that we have, because there's so much vulnerability there's manipulation, but there's also individuals that fall victim to this. We have one individual, this is a good example. We have one individual that came from an organization that was paying his rent until his benefits started. It took them too long to start his benefits. And so now we've been caring for him for probably the last year. And that agency dropped him. So now we've kind of taken on a forced charity, because we're in the place of residential services, not finding ways to put people out when he otherwise have not done anything that was within his control.
Absolutely. Because in this business, there's always pros and cons to everything. And so you're going to have people that try to take advantage of the situation. And that's nothing new, because you have people that try to take advantage of Jesus. All right. So that's nothing new. And again, don't allow yourself to get bitter by those people and the tricks of the enemy, because the enemy gonna come at you and try to make you bitter, to try to discourage you from doing what God called you to do. So you have to be aware of that. I've been under plenty of attacks. Man, I'll tell you something. I won't tell you, but some attacks that I couldn't hardly sleep at night. But because of the grace and the mercy of God, I was able to come out of that funk and just realize that this ain't about me. This is about Him. I'm here to represent Him. And so you have to love people no matter what. You have to love people no matter what. But that don't mean that you got to allow them to take advantage of you.
Yes, there are individuals who are on the hunt to abuse and misuse organizations. They sometimes come in the form of volunteers, right? And they sometimes come in the form of clients. And so what we do is we just, of course, we always want to come in from a place of grace, but also having boundaries, right? Boundaries are very important to have. So having a database, right, where we see somebody who is, a multi, whatever you want to call it, right? That they're going from this organization to this one, just burning bridges.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah, it's, I think what helped kind of get in the right mindset of it and not take it personally is they're desperate people do desperate things. And we have a lot of desperate individuals. And we have, and my heart is to help it. I just want to help everybody. If they come to the door, we were going to help them. If they had a need, we were going to help them. And so over the years, just learned how to do a little bit more investigative work to find out what the need is. One of the things that really helped me a lot was nobody's dying. I mean, that's going to come off wrong. But it's if you have someone that's desperately injured and is dying, and you respond to that differently than you respond to someone who is needy and needs help but also has the means to help themselves maybe. And so you take the time to do more investigation and just see where you are and that sort of thing. But yeah, so many times I've been lied to my face. I can't tell you how many times. It was very disheartening.
Yeah.
Because you want to help people and you don't want to be but learning to ask the questions and learning that you can love somebody and still not hand them, whatever.
Yeah.
Making sure they always feel welcome. They're always welcome at church. They're always welcome. We have a water well. You're always welcome to come get water. You're always welcome to, you're welcome here, but I'm not going to trust you with everything that you say. I mean, we've turned kids away, or mainly it's like guardians and parents that we've had to turn them away. And that's hard. It's really, really hard because we want to help everybody and we want to make sure that everyone's taken care of.
Unfortunately, yes. We have had to turn people down because they're wanting things that we are reserving for people who are truly in need. And again, if you've received services, we believe in sharing the wealth, right? So if you've received services and you're no longer, under a doctor's care, then, at that point, we're really not helping. But you have a lot of people out there, unfortunately, that will still try to call in and say that, well, I'm in treatment. But we have to do our own due diligence, so we will be checking. But you're going to have those people who are going to call from organization to organization trying to get the same help. Or
I have come into contact with a lot of people that have double dipped, triple dipped.
It would. I mean, the time I spend alone on searching for resources, that time I spend alone, I could be doing something else.
Yes, sir. House community. That would be good information. See it?
But the lady that was helping with that, she just delivered twins, so we're very excited for her. So that's it's paused because but just helping, it's everybody can do a little bit, and I think people get scared of committing to something. We do, hope that when our sponsors, we need kids sponsored. That's the biggest need. We need kids sponsored.
And then you do it off the website.
Yeah, primary and secondary, and even university kids. But we also need just general donations. Those are very helpful because the kids that aren't sponsored, we can use that for school fees, or we can use it for things that need. Nobody wants to, fix the water well pump. So that's always harder. So general donations are great. But with our sponsors, we want them to get connected to the kids, and we want them to understand that it's not just it's not a small thing.
Yeah.
They're connecting to these kids, and the kids they carry around letters that they've received, and they carry around the pictures of their sponsors, and they become very connected. And so when they have a sponsor that leaves, it's really hard.
Yeah.
I usually don't tell them they've left. We just kind of figure out a way to keep them in school.
Yeah.
But just the connection, not just, I don't know.
That's the goal at Cancer Care, is to reduce the stress as much as we possibly can so that person can focus on just healing. We want to be able to help that person. So if there's a database that says, here's a person who truly has a need and we are looking for additional assistance for them, how much would that help all of us to just have that information right there at hand?
I do, and to be able to locate different ministries, nonprofits, organizations, whatever it is, that they can, reach out to and say, hey, I see you have an event coming up, right? Or I see that you do this every week. I want to be able to help. How can I sign up?
Yeah.
You guys be that, that forefront for them.
Sure. But you would say that it would certainly be a valuable resource to prevent fraud, waste, and abuse if when someone came to you, you could see the agencies that they'd been matched with.
Yes.
And you could see what resources they'd received.
Yes. And I do understand that there is challenges that happen or obstacles that come in the way. I do understand that because I was there.
To have that network, I think that the network would need to be built to where
people that go on to it can say, hey, $50 is $50, but hey, I'm spending $50, but if I get somebody that I meet that needs this, I can go on this website and direct them to where they may need to go. Because like for me, man, I'm busy. I don't have time when people call me coming out of jail or they need a place to go that I can just drop what I'm doing and go. If they have a website, I can say, hey, you need to call Mike Smith over at such and such ministries. This is what their expertise in. Here's their phone number. Here's their website. Well, somebody coming out of jail or in the streets, they don't have access to a website. At least we could say, hey, let me give them a call and say, hey, I'm going to send so-and-so your way. Or, hey, can you give this lady a call? Or is it possible to come pick her up? She needs help with this or she needs help with that. I think that would be a great idea to have that information at your disposal through a website.
For sure. And I think it's a great thing because, again, this is all about community. And it's not just the community of the people that we serve, but it's bringing that community into touch with a larger community that can serve other needs, and that we, as those who provide for needs, become community ourselves and help and encourage one another. Community is the richness of life. It is the life source of life. And I believe it's very important that we do that.
The agency, Kinship Place, we're responsible for making sure that person gets there. So if one of their goals is to reconnect with their families, then we are to get them to their family reunion and back home.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm always on the look, the hunt for what resources are being offered here in our community, because what I've noticed is I don't come across just one specific need. The type of individuals that I assist, like it could be from, needing rehab, needing food sources, needing apartments, needing counseling, it's just such a large variety that right now I'm wanting to build my database literally so that, I have that opportunity to say, if it's not something that I can do, that I have somebody who I can reach out to personally by name and say, hey, Brian, right? I have this lady right here. We've done this and this and this. Is there any way I can send her to you for this, right? Or do you have any information for me for this? So this is something that is a desire and need of mine right now currently.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are other organizations that put kids through school. Mm-hmm. I have not seen a specific widows, like as much as we minister to widows, I have not seen that. The problem is, and actually the interesting thing is, two different ladies that visited Subi have actually started ministries in our little community. Mm-hmm. That are a little bit different. But the goal is you're still ministering kids. And what we found out, there was a school that was up the road from us, but there's so many children.
Right.
It doesn't. You can't overlap.
Yes,
you're never going to run out of needy kids.
Yes. It's not a crowded market.
Right.
Of people trying to help kids.
Right, yeah. And so if there is, but it's interesting though, I wouldn't say it's necessarily partnerships that happen. We've welcomed the community and we've actually helped other schools and other churches. But it's not like you're holding hands with someone and helping that way. But
yeah. Great.
I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a small amount to pay to, save. And then it would also, I guess, save the staff of that organization. How much time are they spending figuring that out? So if there's a database or something that's already got that information, that person's been flagged, I guess.
Yeah, where I could go to a website, right, that I already know, let me look on this website, and there's going to be a list for all of these different things. Now, I know that there are other websites that offer similar things. Unfortunately, what it seems like is a lot of those are outdated. So you call the numbers or you have the addresses, they're outdated. Or, unfortunately, their funds are maxed out. Right? So that is our hindrance right now. Being able to go to, for example, Hope for Everybody and know that, there's going to be a list there that I can access easily and give to my client, family, whoever it is, and, leave that that certain space, whether it's an assessment, a counseling session, whatever it may be, leaving there knowing, hey, they left there with their hands full with something.
Yes.
Organization
absolutely.
and connection between nonprofits?
Absolutely. I was someone that was in need of resources, and I had to seek out the services. So I have a social work background, so it was great. So I was able to utilize the programs that I was able to give to other people.
I mean, $50 is nothing. I mean, that's nothing. I think if whoever the nonprofit is, if they could afford it, because, man, I remember when I first started mine, man, I was broke. Man, $50, you might as well said 1,000, you know, you know, because in ministry, as you know, man, you've got expenses, podcasting, you've got expenses for gas, traveling, you know, there's so many different expenses. You know, I think that $50 is affordable.
Yeah, I think it would be beneficial, and I think it would be doable for most organizations. I think everybody has to look at everything overall and say, you know, is this beneficial for us, and is it worth it for us? But I think that $50 is a reasonable sum to think about.
We've reached the end of today's episode of Hope for Everybody. If you'd like to be a part of the show and tell us your story, please visit us online at hopeforeverybody.org.